All right, so second anniversary. What can I say, man? Rather this is past tense or present tense, depending on when you're watching this video. Second anniversary was bad, man. I want to call it the second ass anniversary because honestly, it was pretty cheeks, man. I'm not going to even cap it, y'all, bro. And the reason why the second anniversary was so bad, straight up, I'm not gonna lie, this applies a lot more to vet players, to be honest. But for us vet players, bro, it felt like there just wasn't no content there for us, bro. Honestly, it really wasn't any like new content for us for us to do, bro. And it felt, and it's really because like they spaced out a lot of the content that they did have, and I thought that they were doing that because they didn't want to over flood us with quote unquote too many events, and that's something that came straight out of Toshi's mouth during the 2-year anniversary live stream before the actual anniversary started. He's like, I don't want to flood you guys with too many events, but really and truthfully, the flooding of events was really only for new players coming into the game. Yeah, they had a lot of stuff to do because they brought back a whole bunch of old events where you guys can grind a whole bunch of new units and get a whole bunch of CC. But for us, 80% of the events that they brought to the game through the second anniversary was a whole bunch of washed up shit that we had for in the game for almost 1 or 2 years. Stuff that us veteran players have already pretty much completed. And that's the reason for why the anniversary for us veteran players, it just felt like the content was just lackluster because what we had really was the new units and then like just summon on PvP. I mean, and just play PvP. But the thing is that it would have been decent if that was just that. Okay, we have our cool new units, we have PvP, cool. No, but the reason why it really started all turning to shit is because these bastards at Legends, they decided to bring in the reincarnation of Satan himself that is called 3 times RP into the game halfway through the second anniversary. And once they introduced that shit, I knew it, bro. I had a feeling. I knew the anniversary was going to turn to shit the second that they added 3 times RP. 3 times RP brings out the worst in the community. It brings out all the laggers. It brings out all the hackers. It brings out all the modders into the game. Because I don't know what it is. It just draws in that crowd. And it makes it for an enjoyable experience. On top of the matchmaking system just does not support. The matchmaking system just does not help it to making this 3 times RP any more like enjoyable. Because it happens to where us people who are probably grinding for top 10k trying to get as much RP as possible, we get matched up with all these wonky ass people who probably have, not trying to start a war between old and new players, but we get people who have probably like questionable teams at very lower RP but probably ranked up slightly a little bit faster just because it's 3 times RP. We get no match with people like that, and we're trying to chase for getting as much RP as possible, and when we get matched up with people like that, we only get like 3 RP. So it's like, what is the point? What is the point when we doing all this grinding and we could just get like 5-6 times in a row we get 3 RP? It's just terrible, bro. The matchmaking, all this stuff just does not support this terrible ass 3 RP type seasons. And once they did that, on top of all the problems that we already had in the game with just ghost inputs and all types of stuff, lag, all that type of stuff we already done had in the game, all these problems that we already had in the game, it adds fire to the flame when you add 3 times P on top of that, and when you add OPS units on top of that. It's just so whack, bro. I don't have no idea, bro. And on top of that, in this anniversary, it definitely feels like they've been pushing this whole trying to get as many new players into the game as possible type narrative. And because like it's very obvious, because if you look at the dumbass friend mission shit that they added, it's literally trying to get us old players to try and get new players into the game by having like, bro, you can only even do it when you have if you're sending your QR code to somebody that had their account for less than 7 days. If that's not them trying to force their way to getting as many new players into the game as possible, I don't know what it is, bro. I don't know why. It feels like they sacrificed everything for the sake of new content and trying to put out actually cool stuff for the anniversary outside of the actual units. I feel like they sacrificed that to try and push as getting as many new players into the game as possible, which is honestly just kind of whack. Because it's like, bro, for us veteran players, it's just like, bro, it's cool, all this old ass shit that you're bringing back for the new players. It's like, bro, where's the event for all the vet players? All the stuff that they added was stuff that we literally can run through in probably like an hour max. And then I guess you can count those gated events where they have 1,000 corner crystals. We had 2 of those. But it's like that's baby content. Where's the longevity stuff? The stuff that's supposed to make us feel like this is a 2nd year anniversary, bro. Where is that shit? We don't feel it. And the problem that I'm really starting to have with Legends, right, is that they have this thing. They have this thing in their mind is that they can just add shiny new units and people will forget this shit. So halfway through the anniversary or towards the end and half of the anniversary, depending when you're watching this, they decided that they were going to add Super Kaioken Goku and Pikkon. And it's like, bro, why add more units on top of all the problems, on top of all the amount of units that we already had through an anniversary? What is that going to do for us? It does nothing for us. And there are units that don't even fit in with the meta, which made it even worse. Plus it's a Legend Rising banner. It's like, why? It's like they were marketing that Kaioken banner as a second anniversary banner just so they can just have some shiny new units just to throw at us. It's like, bro, we're tired of that, bro. We're tired of you trying to feel like you can sugarcoat us with shiny cool new units. It's just not the way, bro, because we're getting to a point where it's been 2 years for us veteran players. We've been dealing with this shit, the same problems, and we feel like we haven't been having any real change. And that's the real problem that we're having with Legends, bro. It's been 2 years and we've been dealing with the same shit. I'm starting to feel like Legends, we're getting to a point, it's like they obviously, either they don't give a fuck or they just don't know how to handle some of the problems that they have with the game. They just don't really know how they can really change it. Some of the problems that they have with the core gameplay mechanics and just with the core game of PvP itself. And that's the problem. Legends is a PvP game. PvP is everything, and that's the main attraction. So the fact that PvP is struggling so hard just to keep it, like, hold itself up with all the problems that it's having, and they decided that we're going to add a 3 times RP season on top of that, and there's just no content there for us to actually have as far as vet players. That's what made the anniversary just feel like it was ass, bro. There was no content there for us. It's just nothing there. Nothing there. And I know you may ask stuff like this, oh, well, we had the Zenkai Trunks grind. I guess, okay, you can kind of count that as content, even though technically it's just really, the Zenkai Trunks thing was really a revamp. Like, they revamped the event, they made it better. That's definitely cool. Can't complain about that. Then it's like the grind is just there, but it's like, bro, honestly, co-op is the most terrible way to grind a unit. The co-op experience is just not fun. It's not a fun experience trying to grind units through co-op. It honestly isn't. And it's very obvious that they're not going to change the Zenkai system, so I'm not even going to even talk about that. Like, it's just another thing that us players, just most players, just don't have things to look forward to. Because, like, bro, the amount of resources and the time you have to put into one character just to get them Zenkai, it's just like, oh, okay, this is whatever. I don't care to Zenkai them. It's just so much, bro. So many problems, bro. And we've been dealing with this shit for 2 years, man. It just, we want to see some real change, bro. That is the main problem. I want to say that's with the anniversary. We want to see some real change, and and they decided that they were going to sacrifice everything for pushing this whole new player thing, and just kind of just leave us vet players in the bush, like in the wind with no content. Like, it's just play PvP, have fun with your new units, don't complain. But it's like, bro, we can't even enjoy PvP because of all the bullshit that we had to go through in that 3RP type season. And of course, what does Legend do? Add more units. That's their problem to everything, and that's the problem that I'm really having mostly in everything. You can't just, bro, honestly, we want to see it to a point where it's like, bro, we want to see some real change, bro. Let's see some real change. And it's just, bro, even Kai Charlotte, as cool as he was, that wasn't enough to revive the anniversary. Because by the time they dropped him, the anniversary just was at such a stale point as far as just not having any content and nothing new to the actual anniversary of itself. It just was just so boring, bro. For new players, like I said, there's just a quantity of stuff for you to do, a lot of ways for you to grind for CC. But for us long-term players, the only real thing we probably had that was really new, that felt refreshing, was probably the co-op event, the raid boss, which was only up for less than 24 hours. So a lot of people forgot that it even existed. Some people didn't even get to touch it. So there's that, man. Second anniversary, I want to give it probably a 3 out of 10, man. A 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10. First anniversary, I thought that wasn't too good. The first anniversary was honestly not as good, but damn, bro. It feels like you can't have them both, man. It feels like you can't have the good units and you can't have the content. It feels like Legends always got to find a way to cut you off. And as veteran players, it's been 2 years. We're getting to that point. It's like we can't keep babying Legends and saying, well, they're only 1 year old. No, their lifespan has not been that long. 2 years. It's like, at this point, we're getting into we want to see some change point. Like, it's no more of the bullshit. We don't want to hear it, man. Yeah, so it's your boy Kai Kid. Go like, subscribe for my content. Join my Discord, all that stuff. Yeah, man. Second anniversary, bro. I don't know what to say, man. I haven't been this disappointed in a while. I feel like I couldn't get another Legends video out until I made this video. So, yeah. Second ass of second anniversary, man. Very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. Very, very, very disappointed, man. I really am.